last few days I was hibernating by the pool, and today finally we are exploring Zakynthos. We are gonna see the most famous attraction here, which is the shipwreck beach. You were used to able to go on the beach itself and see the ship, but now it's not safe anymore. Apparently there's some rocks that can fall on you, so now you can only go by boat just to see.
You cannot swim there anymore.
You cannot even swim from the boat next to it.
No, they go to another beach.
Okay. So yeah, but you can still kind of see the shipwreck. And I think the ship used to be whole, and now it's kind of like literally wrecked in half. It was some storm, I was told by the guy that took me from the airport a couple years ago, I think.
This reminds me about that road that when we went to the pink beach.
In Crete?
Yeah, that was like through the mountains. This
Oh
is
yeah,
exactly
it took
same.
forever. Like
This is
it took
exactly the same.
forever. Our time in Zakinthos came to an end. It was a wonderful 3 days, but it's time to move on.
Back on Friday.
No, coming back. Oh yeah, but only for one night before the plane, so it doesn't count. So it was very nice. They went to a boat tour to see the shipwreck, and the ship was so small. I thought it was going to be so big, and it was so small. So I feel a little bit disappointed by the size of that ship.
It's very private.
It was very private. What do you mean?
Like there's not many people in the boat.
Oh, you mean
With the
yeah,
bigger
in
boat
the
with
in the
all the
tourist
people?
boat. Yeah. We got there, like we got 2 boats, and one boat was like super crowded, and then they asked if anyone wants to go in a smaller boat, and we did, and we ended up with a very small group of people, like 9. Yeah, we were that was very nice. Yeah. This is the pool that we usually hang out by. Super nice, and our room is right there.
Where Margot's been living for the last 2
Yes, where I was hibernating for the last 3 days, and tomorrow I will be once more. And this is the way to the spa, which I'm gonna go tomorrow morning for my foot massage. Hi guys, I thought now, while I'm sitting by the pool and we just had a wonderful dinner and I had half a bottle of wine, I think it's the best time to tell you about how a typical day-to-day of a junior doctor in Ireland looks like. So in my, obviously, disclaimer, I'm only talking about my hospital. Hospitals are different, and the day kind of schedules are different in every hospital, and it heavily depends on the department as well. My department right now is a respiratory rehab in a very, very quiet rehabilitation hospital. So I'm going to be describing my typical day at work there. So we start around 9 o'clock. There is no really much benefit starting earlier because most of our residents, as it's a rehab facility, are either asleep or they are having breakfast before 9. So there is no point of doing a round before 9. So usually when I come to work around 9 o'clock, I prepare the list of patients for the upcoming day. I'm updating the blood results from the previous day or any plan changes or any other little bits and pieces that need to be updated on the list. Then I usually print the list for myself and my colleagues and my seniors, just for everyone to have a copy of that. After that, we start the round. So in my department, we have 3 junior doctors, 1 registrar, and the consultants come twice a week to round on all the patients. And I am one of the junior doctors. Usually, even though we are 3 junior doctors, most of the days we are just 2 because one of us is either on annual leave or nights or on some other kind of leave, so most of the days we are just 2 SHOs and 1 registrar on duty. And the way we divide our ward in particular, we have 25 patients and 3 blocks, so usually one person does one block and the other person does the other 2 blocks, because they have, so if you have it, it's basically equal amount of patients between first and second block and the third block. So that's how we usually divide the things. And then the registrar sees either new patients or the patients that are more complicated. They are maybe actively ill or have more kind of comorbidities than others. So that's how we usually divide things. And from 9 o'clock to about 1 p.m. we have the morning round. So that's the ideal situation if we have everyone on, like all the staff on duty and we have no issues and everything is going smoothly. Obviously sometimes, as things can go in the hospital, we can round up to sometimes even 4 or 5 p.m. But if everything is okay, we should round until approximately 1 o'clock. After 1 o'clock we usually go for lunch, between 1 and 1:30 depending on the day. And then after that, in my particular hospital, we have something called the clinics. And as I am in the respiratory department, our clinics are mostly about respiratory diseases such as asthma or COPD, or just general respiratory or some sleep disorders. We also have a clinic like that. So almost every day we have a different clinic. That usually goes on between the hours of 1:30 p.m. and about 3, tops 4 p.m. It depends on the amount of patients, but usually we are finished by 4 p.m. and we go back to the ward. At that time, what we are doing is basically finishing all the jobs that are like kind of lined up for the day. It can be different tasks ranging from ordering consults or ordering bloods for the upcoming day, or doing like really little bits and pieces for our patients, writing medications, rewriting cardexes for medications and stuff like that.
Let's not talk about cardiacs, let's talk about wine.
I already no, but I was describing my typical day at work as a junior doctor in my department. And then usually after all of that, it's 5 p.m. and we usually go home.
And Tiago is texting you, please let's go home.
Yes, because my fiance works in the same hospital, but he is a registrar, which is a senior doctor, and obviously the workload is very little compared to compared to junior doctors. So he is like 99% finished by 5 p.m. I am a busier doctor, so I have more responsibilities and I have more things to do. So most of the time Tiago is like texting me, let's go home and let's...
We seniors just go there to chill in the office.
Well, for example, in his department, as I just said, we have clinics every day. He doesn't have any clinics.
Fired. My junior got fired. He fired. No, sorry, he quit.
What?
My junior doctor quit, so I have one left to work.
Yeah, but you have no clinic, so you have twice less the workload already.
My patients are geriatrics and that's holistic approach. It's just not lungs and BiPAPs and air.
Whatever. So that's basically how my day-to-day looks like. I'm thinking of inserting another clip somewhere here. I'm gonna describe how my on-call shift looks like and what kind of on-calls we have in my hospital in particular. Again, it's heavily dependent on where you are and what hospital you're in and the acuity of the hospital. Mine would be at the bottom of the list in terms of acuity, so my on-calls would be pretty boring to describe, but I'm still gonna do it.
From an acuity, other things that are in.
Like, we don't have an emergency department, so that's already like cut.
Yeah, but
things. Yeah.
It's different.
So yeah, this is an overview of how my day-to-day looks like. Hi guys, I'm in the car currently. We are about to go on a ferry to go to another island called Kefalonia, which is 1.5 hours from Zakinthos, where we are at the moment. Last few days were filled with a lot of sun, a lot of fresh fruits, amazing food. Like, our hotel had the most incredible food options I probably have ever seen in the hotel, so I am very happy and very kind of like, I feel like my batteries are recharging so nicely. So while waiting for the ferry to go to Catalonia, I decided to chat with you a little bit more about my job. I'm a junior doctor, as you're already aware, and the next topic I wanted to cover briefly is the on-calls. So the on-call is a shift where you are covering either a part of the hospital or the entire hospital, depending on where you are, and you are answering emergency or not so emergency, but something that needs to be handled in the out of hours scenario. So 9 to 5 the primary team is there, but then after 5 everyone's gone home, or after 6, and that's when usually the on-calls come in. In my hospital, we have several types of on-calls. First one, we call it the long day. That's basically after 5 o'clock when all the doctors have gone home and someone is covering from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. until the night shift comes in. You are the only doctor in the entire hospital. We have, I believe, about 150 beds, mostly rehab, but we have some kind of acute patients as well. And you're just one doctor. There is no one else. So if you need help of a senior doctor, you have to call your registrar on call, and because he's at home, he's not on site. You're the only one on site, so hence any emergency that arises that needs really quick interference, you kind of have to provide all the necessary help that you can, and if you can't, if it's out of scope of what a hospital can do, we would send them to more acute hospital. So the other type of an on-call is a night shift, and the way we do it in my hospital, we do 5 night shifts in a row from Sunday evening to Friday morning, and then the Friday night and Saturday night are covered by just randomly, so sometimes I have an odd Saturday or Friday night. So that's just a night shift from 9 to 9 basically. Same, you're the only one there, there is no one else. It tends to be quieter because, again, it's a rehab hospital, so there's not many things that arise at night because people are mostly asleep. I have not had, knock on wood, any emergencies or any deaths so far actually on my on-calls, so I consider myself and my patients lucky. I started to have a joke that I am their lucky charm. And then the third type of an on-call we have is the weekend call, which is just the same way we have a day shift, a night shift, we have a day shift from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. and the scope of practice is exactly the same as of any other on-call, really. Tiago, now can you give me, so Tiago is a registrar, which is a senior doctor, so his on-call in that hospital looks very different. He's at home and he's basically taking calls from junior doctors that are on site. And what can you say, how do you feel about your type of call?
Off-site call is very particular. It usually tends to be in other specialties, not generic, usually internal medicine would not have this type of call.
Yeah, in more acute hospitals, all registrar would be on site.
But other specialties do, like hematology, oncology.
Yeah, but not internals.
Cardiology.
Yeah.
So it is very different. Essentially, you are off-site because the place that you are working for has very limited resources. So essentially, if someone is acutely unwell, then that's not the appropriate place for them to be, and essentially you would be providing support to the junior doctors about what to do, and essentially guiding them if a patient is for transfer to a more acute appropriate setting than the one they are at the moment, and essentially that's it.
Okay, have you ever had to come in a hospital?
In on-call?
Yes.
One time I was there, so I went in more or less, as in I was already there.
Oh yeah, but if you weren't there, would you come in?
No.
Okay, so basically
but since I was
the answer,
there.
yeah, but the answer is basically no. So that's yeah.
But you don't need.
You don't need.
It's not like I don't go.
I had my registrar one time to come in, and in my opinion, it was not necessary, but he decided to come in, so I'm not gonna say anything.
But also, it's essentially, if it's an acute situation, which is essentially what you are dealing with, it takes me half an hour to get there.
Yeah.
So by the time you get there, you would hope that if it's an acute situation, the patient is not there anymore.
Yeah, he will be transferred to.
Okay,
like-
but there might be situations where you have complicated patients, complicated families, and the junior doctor on site might be not very experienced, and you might need to go over to kind of give support. Although on call, you are covering people that you never heard of and you
Yeah.
don't know. But potentially, if it's one of your
that actually would be the case if we're talking about any other hospital. But in our hospital, to be honest, we kind of get to know people even if they're not under our care during the daytime,
yeah.
because we keep being on call. Like we have a lot of we have nursing
That's
home
the place I
parts.
need to be anyways. Sorry. I
Is
guess-
this the queue? Yeah.
Yeah, the boat is there. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a queue. I'm just gonna go behind
Okay,
that
that's
guy.
okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Tiago.